Frank, we are online. You can start the presentation.
Okay, can you see me now or what?
No, I didn't see you.
Okay, I need to go. Okay, you waiting for my camera?
Yeah. Otherwise, I can turn it off. Otherwise, I can turn it off. It's not a problem.
Okay, I'm ready here at the presentation. I'm not going to go. It looks like I have a bandwidth issue now, so I'm going to not show my camera for now.
I turn it off. I turn it off too, and then you will advise when I have to turn it on. Perfect.
Okay, I think we have everybody on here right now, and I want to thank everybody for attending this Itelco Elenos Group webinar. This is the second webinar in a series that's going to be focused mainly on the Elenos Group Itelco projects and products, and Itelco being part of Elenos, mainly focused on our video products, analog and digital TV, and there's some other things that we'll talk about. So I'm going to go through in the beginning. I'll try to move through this quickly to go through some review for those of you that didn't attend last week, but the heart of this presentation will be presented by Mr. Alberto Milani, who's now located in the Lombardy region of Italy. Why don't you say hello, Alberto, to the group?
Hello to everybody. Thanks to take part of the webinar. Thanks for coming.
Okay, in case of you that may not know me, and maybe you do know me, but I've been around for too many years that I'd like to admit in various past lives. I have been in broadcast with Broadcast Electronics, originally. Previous to that, several microwave companies as engineer, production manager, and so forth. But today, I've been with Elenos since 2012, and today we deal with the full gamut of broadcast products, which I'll go into. So Alberto has also been in the community about the same amount of experience, from engineering through sales support, technical support, Asia Pacific support. Both of us have been very active in Asia, from let's say from Afghanistan to New Zealand to Japan. So that covers a wide area, and I can't leave out Australia and also the oceanic regions too, which are a big part of Itelco, Elenos, and BE, and also to some extent Pro Television, as now they become part of a lot of our products and a big player. So we'll be talking about them as we go through the review and so forth. So let's see, I'm trying to get okay, here we go. So today, what I'm going to start out really is a review on the Elenos Group, which we talked to last time. A little bit of history, a lot of years of experience in both Elenos, Itelco, and BE, who were, I wouldn't call them household names commercially, but in our business, leaders in the industry. The two first, Elenos and Itelco, being from Italy and part of the Silicon Valley consortium of companies that have brought to us industry leading and new innovations that have pushed us along at the broadcasting into today now the digital broadcasting world. BE also very much a big name since the late 50s. Can't say I have a recollection of those days, but the history and the vintage is there. So BE located outside of Italy in Quincy, but very, very much a part worldwide of our group. The sun really never sets now on the Elenos Group corporation, which is open 24/7 in some part of the world, and there's some kind of activity going on always. So I hope you guys can stick with us and trust these three names. The other one, Pro Television Technologies, most likely you will not have a lot of interaction with Pro Television. From the most part, behind the scenes, doing a lot of the major work that we're integrating today into the three product lines of Elenos, Itelco, and BE. So with that, I'm going to talk about the group today. This states our mission, which again I presented last week. And you know, we like to keep these names up there because they are known in the industry, and in certain markets, our customers, particularly in Asia, they look for Elenos, they look for Itelco, they look for broadcast electronics. I might also want to point out that Itelco, prior to coming on with the Elenos group, was also Electrosys, and prior to that, Electrosys was a extension of what was originally Itelco. So Itelco has been in and out of this with name, but has been in products and super innovation for a while. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the innovations there too. So Pro Television is an exciting part of our group. A lot of emphasis and a lot of coordination by the engineers in Elenos, Itelco, and Broadcast Electronics through Pro Television, which manages and sort of consolidates all our development. We're shooting to a place where today we can use a lot of the same technology packed into similar products. So to you as the end user, or you as a distributor, your life is easier. You see a lot of the same screens, a lot of the same maintenance procedures, and so forth. So, wow, 90 years of experience. It's certainly, I'm certainly younger than that. I'm happy for that. Okay. I want to point out that through these three groups now, and this is by no means a full list, but we have over 60,000 installations in 130 countries. And because of that 90 years of experience, and you know, myself personally experiencing it through Broadcast Electronics, and then now with Elenos since 2012, it's an exciting group, and some of them expand the globe, like Radio Maria, with a great customer that extends into all the major continents and regions. Okay, part of this Asia Pacific group, I want to welcome, if anyone is here, from BTSI, which is our group and our partner and group and super integrator supplier in the Philippines. I also want to give some credit to in India to our group there as well, and Mr. Sundaram and his group that may be attending here. VTech also is a group from Taiwan who does a lot of work in all three of the product lines that we've mentioned. So here is some of our installations done through these organizations or by some of the main network operators in the regions. Here, for example, is mainly a list of what we see in the Philippines, an exciting market for us. Today, we're seeing a lot of expansion, very thankful to companies and the experiences we have in the Philippines. We love to provide product there. We love to go there. We love to plan new directions and work with the Philippines. It's a great networking country, as are many of the others. So, you know, from our standpoint, this is still an exciting business. Those that tell you that today the world is shifting only to the internet, not for our region. We see a lot of expansion, a lot of new creative things done by networks in our community. So from there, I'm going to start introducing a little bit of review from last week. There's some crossover here that talks about our lower power, and I'll call them all low power, but to some extent, some call them medium power transmitters. So to make this easier, I've sort of color coded this, and I'll talk about the MEX 2 product line, which is mainly exciters, gap fillers, but the lowest power. The IEC 100, as mentioned, 100 and 200 watt devices digitally. ALPAN 1, 2, and 3, which is a combination of the MEX 2 along with a power amplifier, delivering, I'd say, the brunt of a lot of what we're seeing in network expansions in DVB-T2 and ISDVT. So with that said, in our mode that we'll define as multi-mode, we see the same hardware for analog and the ability to also deliver digital when the time is ready, under the standards of DVB-T, DVB-T2, ISDVT, ATSC, and now the ATSC3 standard. And you know, in Asia, we are seeing ATSC3. We're seeing it in Korea, and that's exciting. Now, going over into digital technology in audio communications, DAB and DMB. I'll say that moving forward, and you might see this through some of the BE webinars that are advertised, that eventually there is a migration to also include through Pro Television also and through BE some of the HD radio technology. So wherever that may come, wherever that's being developed right now, we may see it in Asia, but for the most part, we're seeing DAB and DMB. Okay, so low power, we'll talk about both exciters and standalone transmitters. You know, let it be always known, and people in the industry know, that exciters are really are a full radio or a full TV transmitter. It's only the power amplifier that makes them become the product that actually delivers into our communities. So the MEX 2 product line, 1, 10, and 25 watts digitally. Analog, you can basically consider it about double of what's done digitally. The IEC 100 and IEC 200 are in that lower mid-range, and we're seeing a lot of good things happening there in deployment. For the most part today, we get into a low medium power standalone transmitters, 200, 400, 600 watt. Generally speaking, I'll move back one and say that most of the gap filler technology, which is a lot of quantity that we see today, is in the 100 and 200, between about 10 watts up to 200 watts. But ALPAN in itself does a great job in delivering services into small, medium type communities and small cities. The larger ones, as we'll be moving on in the next 2 weeks, we'll talk about our medium power air-cooled transmitters called Thalna, and then Nortia is our high power transmitters, liquid cooled, that can go upwards anywhere from 60 to 120 kilowatt for very high power metro type deployment. But the products that we talk about here, whether in the exciter standalone transmitter mode or into gap filler mode, are a viable part of our business. One of the things to note across the board is that with this MEX 2, you'll see it, whether it's in the low power, and the interfaces are all the same, all the way through to the very high power Nortia type solutions. So the interface and the maintenance and the installations are all the same look and feel. There's no new product to completely develop. Between Pro Television and Itelco, have done a great job on this with integration. So the next one, we'll talk about a little bit about MEX 2. And MEX 2, you can see the front view, 1RU, really compact design, thanks to a lot of what we've seen from Pro Television and a lot of new component integration and through firmware and software. So it's exciting times. Upgrades can be done over the internet. Upgrades through flash are very easy to do. If you look at the back, it's pretty crowded, but if we're wanting to save space and make things lighter, this is the way to go. So I'm not going to go through the detail of all these connections, but all the bells and whistles are here. You have the GPS capabilities, you have the Ethernet capability, we have satellite interface capability, receiver capability to do the gap filler and the repeater mode, or transporters as well. So if you look at the back too, you'll see a standard IEC plug, an on-off button, and a fuse as well. This one, simple block diagram, and you'll see commonality between all of them. The new thing we talked about in the last event 2 weeks ago is the receiver satellite input, which gives us the gap filler and the translators and so forth. But for the most part, this is no different than the basic block diagram of exciters and small TV transmitters, in that we have different various RF stages, AC/DC power supply, interconnection boards, and so forth. So I'm not going to go through this because Alberto's going to touch on it as we get into the details of the ALPAN. So the IEC, again, similar to what I just explained with the MEX 2, again in the 100, 200 range. The difference here is, as you can see, we have to integrate some power amplification into this. So it's a little bit bigger. The controls are there in the front. You still have an LCD, a LCD LED panel that provides you complete control in the event that you don't have a computer on site at the field. So, you know, all the standard things that you require, from remote control, local control, through screen, variable fan control. As you can see, the two decent sized fans in the back. So again, looks really similar to the MEX 2, but power amplifier stage is added. So here we have a block diagram of this, which we presented last week in talking about gap fillers. But we'll have a little bit more that'll explain the basic functionality of what goes on in our low power transmitter. So difference here is in this, we're talking about a 200 to 400 to 600 watt, 3 different versions, all in this same nice package. Of course, you've got the filter on top, which is mandatory in digital. So in that case, it does take up space as well. It might be there, it might be in another location, but for a standard package, it's going to appear at the top. So again, 1, 2, and 3 relate to 200, 400, or 600 watts. A rear view, you can get a similar view of what we've seen in the 2 others that I presented. Should point out that in this case, we have integration of 2 devices, which are, you're familiar already with the MEX 2 exciter, along with a power amplifier. Okay, in the back of the power amplifier, which is at the bottom, you have the W301 connection. The W301 connection, you can see a lot of the heat sinking that's done there, basically, so that we have better cooling and better efficiency here. Back before, this block diagram here is to show basically we have, it's a review. We have 2 pieces to this, the MEX 2, and then we have the ALPAN power amplifier. So with this device, we're able to do any of the standards I mentioned before. It's available for both VHF and UHF. I know some are still trying with band 3 VHF and with the UHF range. We do also have the full range of Doherty, and Doherty allows us to do more things than just have more efficiency. But today we're seeing efficiency up to 37%, which is pretty amazing compared to where we were just 5 and 10 years ago. These devices here have modular hot plugins. It's not modular from the standpoint of where you would have a very modular device with a backplane and so forth, but it is modular. The devices and the spares are done in modules as opposed to individual devices that need to be soldered in and so forth. So maintenance friendly as compared to devices we've seen in the past. Again, with any of the devices that we've seen in MEX 2 and IEC, we also have adaptive pre-correction for optimizing the transmitter. Takes a while for it to settle in, but a really important part of efficiency and also of consistency in the broadcast quality. So on the ALPAN PA, this kind of relates to the top one being a small block diagram of 600 watts to ALPAN 2 400 down to ALPAN 1 200. And what you can see basically the differences here, these are relatively the same except for some of the control here. And then you can see that I've got for 200, I've got one PA device here. Then I move to 2 for the 400 and 3, of course, then for the 600. So all sort of makes sense and helps us provide consistency to our customer base and also consistency in manufacturing. The other thing that we might want to point out that any of these devices are available in what I'll call an N+1 or a 1+1 configuration. So in this particular case, we're showing one rack, showing a 3+1 configuration. So the beauty of this is you know, from the front view, there's the actual hardware. So, you know, this is available. It's been done for a while. Any of the devices we've talked about, like the ALPAN 1, 2, or 3 also can be in these configurations, or in the lower power 100 and 200 watt family as well. What you then see then is what some of the controls look like. And so when you have a configuration like this, it makes a lot of sense from a network operator point of view to have a backup at that location, whether it be a direct 100% backup or an N+1. We're seeing more and more N+1 in areas where we're searching for the highest tower to do the broadcast. So it makes a lot of sense for big networks and for government agencies that do this. If you look at the third picture on the right, you see that the graphics are definitely related to the N+1 configuration, whether it be 1+1 up to 3+1. Alberto might want to touch on this later as far as how many we can go in the N+1 configuration. Okay, here is a block diagram. So this one is related to the 3+1 configuration. So you can see the 3 different devices in the main. I want to move forward because I want to spend time on some of the other products in the ALPAN line and some of the detail. But again, in review, MEX 2, IEC 100, 200, ALPAN 1, 2, and 3 can be available in 1+1 passive reserve, active reserve 1+1, or in the N+1 configuration. If you have any questions up to this point, there is a question section in your panel here. I'm trying to move quickly here because we have a lot of ground to cover. So in that case, ask any questions here. I'll introduce Pro Television, who some of you already know. It was established in '63 as Philips Test and Measurement. Today, the managing director is a gentleman named Morton Simonson, who's very, very well known, and is doing really breathtaking work in the area of integration of electronic devices into RF. So today we're seeing, and there was one seminar that was done in the past that dealt with a supercomputer, super RF computer, worth taking a look at. Gives you an idea about where the world is heading to in the area of RF. Today, Pro Television is located in Copenhagen, Denmark, and the focus has 25 engineers, everything from DSP, RF, software, hardware. Everything is done and outsourced to. Let me go back here a little bit. Too heavy on the trigger switch here. Okay, ISO certified specialists. We do everything when we start any of the designs with the 4 companies mentioned. That we always look ahead of time with through ISO certification, but we're also looking at standard industry certification as well, and looking at deploying web and SNMP as an integral part of our design. So everything goes through standard calibration, verification, and so forth. So as you can see, Pro Television not only provides just to our product lines, but to other industry leaders in the area of ATSC, DVB-T, ISDBT, and also DAB. So we're out there under other brand names, and we are also a supplier from the modulator standpoint. Okay, I guess at this point, you know, what I want to do is talk a little bit about move over to Alberto, and Alberto can get into some of the details of why don't we take it, I think, from here, because I think I've run over my limit. I often do
that's
that.
okay,
So,
Frank.
Alberto, how are we? Go ahead.
Yeah. Perfect.
Do you want to move back, or you want from here?
No, it's okay. We can start from here. Gentlemen, good morning and good afternoon. At first, thanks for coming and to participate to this webinar. We will go a little bit in depth inside to the digital modulator that, as our colleagues Frank mentioned, it's the manufacturer. Pro Television is one of the company of our group, and it is an extremely well-known digital modulator manufacturer in the world, but especially because TV makes the development together with the most important digital association in the world of the development of parts of these standards. So basically, we have this board that is capable for analog and digital modulation. This means that all the analog part are simulated and they are modulated by digital, reproducing the analog modulation at the end. This means that during the period, the trial period, and during the digital migration from analog to digital, our customer can buy an analog transmitter, but that is really ready to become digital, just pushing a button to reboot the digital modulator, no more. So this board is the same for all the standard, and the performances and the technical characteristics, the technical specification change only loading a different software. As our colleague Frank mentioned, we are capable also for the last generation that comes, that is used in United States, part of Latin America, but also especially in Korea and some other place, that is the new ATS 3.0. In the particular case of your area, generally one of the most used technology is the ISDBT. So this device. Frank, can you move the slide, please? The next one. Okay, next. Next again, please. Perfect. This a block diagram where we can see on the left part the green arrows with the input of the analog modulation, video and sound, and after that the digital one. So this means that this exciter and also the amplifier are basically all digital ready, and they are capable to transmit in analog or digital. Especially the ISDBT is one of the most popular standard in your region, and this gives the possibility to transmit several programs in only one channel, instead than the analog one that was capable for one program per each channel. Can you move to the next, please? Perfect. Here, just to understand a little bit better about what we mean about analog and digital. On the left side, you have an analog spectrum mask where you will have the video carrier, the chroma carrier, and the sound carrier. And in 8 or 7 megahertz wide or 6 mega channel, you can transmit only one program with its sound, no more. On the right side, instead, you can see the spectrum of an ISDBT digital packet. Inside to this spectrum, there are more than 7,000 carriers that are phase modulated. With this system, you have the possibility to transmit several programs in only one channel of 6 mega. Of course, on the analog technology, you need to have a channel side protection. So this means that you can transmit channel 50, channel 52, channel 54. So basically, you need to have one channel of protection in order to not interfere yourself with two channels closed. On the other side, on the digital packet, there is the possibility to transmit adjacent and co-adjacent channels. So this means that you can use all the radio frequency spectrum. So basically you can transmit channel 54, 56, 57, 43, 44, 45, so all connected. There is a special kind of multiplexers named critical mask configuration, and these allow the possibility to transmit adjacent and co-adjacent channels. Also, there is the possibility to transmit in MFN mode or SFN mode. MFN stands for multi-frequency network, and SFN stands for single frequency network. In this way, you can plan and you can organize very well the coverage of your area in your country in order to have, for instance, if you need the multi-frequency network operation, you may have different channels with different frequencies. Other ways, if you are capable to plan very well your network and the simulation and the propagation of the antenna system, you can synchronize your network and you can operate easily in SFN network mode. This means that with one same channel with same programs inside, you can cover an entire region. This means that you can have a propagation, for instance, on the channel 30 for more than one transmitter without creating interferences between them, also in the area where the antenna propagation are overlapping. This digital technology offers, of course, the advantage to reduce the number of the transmitter, because you can transmit several programs in one channel, so you can decrease the number of the transmitters, saving energy and saving maintenance, and in addition, so give an end to the environment. And in addition, this technology allowed the end mobile. So basically the possibility to watch the television on mobile devices. Sorry, Frank, can you move to the next? Perfect. So these are few elements of these technologies. So on the left side, you can see the spectrum that we saw before with the lateral shoulders. This is the ISDBT in 6 mega. But on the right side, you can see the constellation. Basically, the layer A is the layer of the one sec of the mobile TV. The layer B is the constellation for the digital transmission, and then there is the layer C, that is the configuration of both the system. The elements that generally have to be considered are elements like MER, BER, and shoulders. These are the three most important elements that have to be taken into consideration during the measurement and the testing of these devices. Please, Frank, can you move to the next? Perfect. So this is one of all our equipment are, of course, have the possibility to be managed by remote. For this reason, all the exciter has inside the web browser, and in this case, we are talking about integrated transmitters. So basically, with only one connection, Ethernet connection, we are capable to manage 100% the transmitter from remote. Instead, in case of multiple amplifiers, we have a unit that is named CCU, that is the transmitter control and supervising, and all the information are addressed from the power supply, from the power amplifier modules and exciter are addressed to this control unit that has the connection with the web browser built in, and all the information are addressed through a CAN bus port. And so basically this unit is capable to control the entire transmitter. But in the details, if you plug our exciter, if you plug with your PC our exciter or our integrated transmitters, you can see basically the synoptic that you can see in these photos. This is one of the most interesting application for the easy and friendly user way of these boards. Not other companies has an easy and friendly user screen like this, because basically, not next, please. Next, Frank.
Just a moment.
Yeah, please take your time. No trouble. We have time. You can move to the next again, please. Perfect. That's it. That's it. Perfect. Here we go. So basically, as you can see in this configuration, we have 3 masks down, and with your mouse or with your touchpad, you can move from the block, from the upper block to the lower size, and with the drag and drop, and you will go to activate the function, and you can select, you can activate, and you can make correction and so on of the function. Moreover, this is one of the most performable linear and nonlinear precorrector that is available on the market. This means that you do not have to lose time, and you do not need any additional instrument to perform the alignment of the linear and nonlinear precorrection, because these units are capable to adjust the best transmission parameters by itself. So, which is in synthesis the difference between analog and digital transmitter, advantage and disadvantage. Let me see. So let me say, in the digital technology, you can allow several programs in only one channel. You can save the spectrum. You can use in the best way the spectrum because you can use adjacent and co-adjacent channel. You can use the SFN or MFN mode. So the Eden Mobile is available too. Moreover, you have the reducing of the service cost, reducing of power consumption, and you have also the transmitting side power reduction. You can in this way reduce the power consumption, the energy cost, and also pay attention also to the environment. So all these transmitters are built up with modules inside. So also the maintenance in luckily event failure is very easy. And all our equipment has an extremely high MTBF. Next, please. So moreover, you can see our OEM board on the left. So these boards, that is the same of the one used for the TV application, is capable also for the DAB, so digital audio broadcasting. The possibility to transmit is one of the technology developed by the Digital Association, that is the possibility to transmit the sound in digital mode. A special receiver is required, but the quality of the audio performances are really very high. You can move to the next, please. Perfect. I thank you very much for your attention. I leave the closing of this webinar to my friend Frank Massa, and I hope to get our guest for the next webinar soon. Thank you very much, and feel free to send us any requirement by the chat or so on if you have any question about this. We will be much more than happy to reply.
Okay, I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their schedules. Time is family, time is money, time is business, time is everything. And hopefully there are some slides that were presented there and some of our presentation that can become useful for things that you will be integrating into your networks or be providing to your customer base. So I saw the attendee list, and we this group extends across the full gamut of the APAC area, from South Asia to the Far East, Eastern Asia, down to even New Zealand and Australia. So thank you again for attending. These webinars will be recorded as far as the way the live event happened and enrolled, and with the audio as well as the individual presentations, so that you may want to pick any pieces and review this as needed to. So you should get an email that will lead you to where these are. There will be the next seminar will be in 2 weeks, and that will be covering the Thalna product line, which is very exciting, air-cooled conglomeration of development, which has encompasses us to full rack type products that can be extended into capital, as well as some small capital radio networks. So with that, I'd like to again close the event, and thank you all again very much for coming, and hope to see you again in 2 weeks, or to get some emails and questions, and we'll be happy to answer everything that you might send to us, either by email or through the web. Thanks again.